Welcome back to Paul's Outdoor Academy. I really appreciate you joining me for another video. LiPULS reached out to me and they asked me if I would like to review their battery, and it's a 100 amp hour lithium battery, has a battery management system, and so I was like, why not? It sounds like a good idea. I know that I'm constantly doing something where I need 12-volt batteries. I've got an electrical project that I want to do in my storage building. I've got electronics on my boat that I could power with a 12-volt lithium battery. So I agreed to go ahead and review this product, and I hope you'll stick with me today and we'll take a look at it. So like I previously mentioned, the LiPULS battery company sent me their 12-volt lithium battery. This is a 100 amp hour 12.8 volt battery actually that you can buy on Amazon as well as a couple of other online sites. And they not only sent me the battery, but they also sent me the charger that goes with it. And so I'm going to unbox these, let you take a look at what comes in the box. And I've already opened them, so I don't have to do that part. But let's start with the charger. Got some cardboard there that's lining the box. And it's a box within a box, which you know anytime you get a box within a box, you're something special. So it says right here on the box, this is the new LiPULS LiPo battery, and it's a charger, 14.6 volt, 20 amp LiPo battery charger. Now the first thing I'm noticing about this right out of the gate is that it's kind of heavy. And I think you'll know a difference when you pick up a nice charger compared to a cheap charger, and that's the weight a lot of times. This is very solid. I mean, you can see the size of it. For one, the size of my hand. I mean, this is not a small charger. It has an indicator light on it, looks like, and it has your standard battery connections, and then just the power cord. Now, I don't really know if it matters, but what I do like about this is that the shape on the connection on this is common to computers. So if anything should happen to your cord, then you could easily replace this. So they've got a little protective covering on the plug there. I noticed that there were no instructions in the box, but I really don't think I need instructions. And on the back of this, we've got a little label basically just kind of telling you again what this is. The LiPULS company tells you the LED is a green that draws less than 2 amps. And it says the input is 100 to 240 volts at 50 to 60 hertz. And so just some basic information on this. We'll find out how well this does after we charge the battery. Again, I do have to charge the battery the first time before I use it at all. All right, so let's take a look at what came in the box with the actual lithium battery. Here's the manual that it came with. And it says it's a 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour battery. The next thing that I noticed, and I really like the look of this too, is that this specification sheet actually came in like a little waterproof zip pouch. That's pretty cool. So that you could keep this in the boat if you want to and not worry about it getting wet. All the specifications are laid out on this paper. I'll put those specifications right here for just a minute if you wanted to pause the video and see what the various specs are on the sheet. It does have a battery management system built into it, so I really appreciate that. Okay, the screws for the battery terminals. And what I really like about this is that they have supplied me with 2 different sizes of screws for the battery. And I'll take them out of the package. So here's the difference in the screws now that I have the pack open. I'm going to hold them up kind of close so that you can see the difference. And so the biggest difference in these is the height of the screw. And I will tell you where that comes in handy is that when you're attaching your battery terminals to the battery, if you only have like a single terminal sometimes, these longer screws will not work because a single terminal, a single battery lug, I believe they're called, going underneath this does not take up enough room for this to actually tighten down all the way. I just ran into that once this week, as a matter of fact. And so having a shorter screw will allow you to use just a single battery lug terminal connector on this. So that's really, really nice to get 2 of those and to get 2 that are longer for multiple terminals and one that's short in case you just have one. It came wrapped up in plastic and it's also surrounded by foam on the side, so that's really nice. So the next thing is for me to get it out of the box, and I didn't look to see what the weight was on this. It actually says that it's 27.5 pounds. Notice it has handles, which is really nice. The terminal on top is an M8 terminal. They're marked really well on top. They're marked on not only a positive and negative symbol, but they have red and black around those terminals to make that easy to see. I really can't do much more right now. I've got to get this battery charged up, and then we'll come back with a voltmeter. We'll check to see what the actual voltage is. And so stay with me, and we'll get back on this video after the battery charges. All right, so welcome back. I charged this battery all night long, and just like I said I would, I want to take the multimeter and put it on there and see what kind of voltage I'm getting out of it now that it is charged overnight. Let's just take this. Let's stick the red on positive. Let's stick the negative on the negative. And there we go, 14.12 volts. We know we started with about 14.2 volts. And so I may let this run for an hour or 2 hours, and then I'm going to come back down here and see how much voltage has drained out of this. I'll see you in a little while. So we're back in the building. You're seeing me through my new lights, which I'm very happy about. They're still very bright. So I brought the multimeter, about stabbed myself in the eye with it. So let's see what kind of voltage we have left after about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Okay, great. I still have 13.10 volts, it looks like. 13.10 volts. All right, stay tuned, and we'll check in again tomorrow and see how it's going. All right, I am back in the storage building, and it is 8:30 p.m. my time, which means as of right now, I've had the lights on in here for 8 straight hours today, maybe just a few minutes over 8 hours today. But let's do a quick check of the light and let's see what we get. All right, we're at 13.08. So let's turn this off, 13.08. I am now going to turn them off as I leave the building. I'll come back out tomorrow again around noon and turn them back on and maybe let them run another 8 hours. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thanks for continuing to watch. Hello there. I am walking back down to the building. Give you an idea kind of where it is. I came out this morning and I turned my lights on in the building at 10 a.m. and it is now 6:20 p.m. So it has been just a little over 8 hours again today, and I'm super curious to see what the voltage looks like. Still nice and bright. You gotta love it. Sweet. Okay. Good so far. All right, let's do what we've been doing. Let's get the voltmeter over here. All right, so let's see what we got. All right. What do we have? We have 12.91. I've moved some wiring around. I'll explain what I'm doing here in just a second. And I'm going to show you the amperage draw that's occurring for this battery.
I was going to go into detail here and try to explain exactly how I set up my voltmeter to take this reading. But after thinking about it for a few minutes and the fact that I'm not an actual electrician, I decided that it would be better to just recommend that if you want to know how to check amperage draw for your specific multimeter, that you either download the manual or research online and see if you can find the information. The way I have mine set up specifically, the reading that you're about to see is going to be amps. In other words, how many amps is being drawn from the battery with the light on.
I'm going to push this down. So a couple things happened when I did that. Notice this now says 3.42, and also notice the lights came on, right? Okay, so 3.42. What's happening right now is the voltage is now going through the multimeter on its way to the lights.
And as you can see, I'm drawing 3.41 amps right now. Okay, we have 100 amp hours, and we're going to divide that by the 3.4 amps that I'm using. And I'm coming up with 29 hours of use. Now, I don't know for certain that that's correct, but from what I'm seeing so far, I'd say that's pretty darn accurate. All right, so I came back down to the building. I was here this morning at 10:35, and it is 6:40. If I added it up correctly, we're up to right at another 8 hours of use today. And so, again, the lights are still on, still burning. But let's get some numbers real quick. Let's see what we got. 12.69, 12.7. So still got plenty of voltage left, so we'll start again tomorrow and see what happens. All right, it is Friday at 6 o'clock. So this has been running again for more like 8.5 hours this time, because I put it in here at 9:30 this morning. I thought I put it in at 10. I actually put it in like at 9:30. And so I'm gonna get the building open. I'm gonna have to charge my camera real quick. Be right back. Okay, so I'll show you what I found when I got the building open. I had to grab a charger for my camera because the battery was dying. But unfortunately, when I looked in the building, the lights were not on. And so the battery did finally die. And I wish I had come out here halfway through the day. I do know they were really close to having 30 hours of use on them. So I am going to go ahead and check the battery with the voltmeter just to see what it managed to draw it down to before they turned off. So let's see. Let me set this up. And there we go. So let's see what it got down to before it totally turned off. What do we got? Yeah, so 10.87. I wish that I knew exactly when it dropped enough that the lights actually turned off. That's okay. But we do know that it definitely lasted almost 30 hours, and I turned them on at 9:30 this morning. And so it's hard to say, somewhere between 30 and 38 hours if I'm adding all of it up correctly. I'm going to say 38 is too high and go back to saying somewhere between 30 to 32. I think that's a really safe number. Very impressed battery at what I see so far. And that's going to do it for now. And so the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm not going to try it again in the building. And the final test that I'm going to do is charge it up really good and take it to the lake. And I'm going to use it for a long time on a live scope system. I have Garmin live scope in my boat, and I have a way that I can run power to it separately and not run it on the boat power. So that's exactly what I'm going to do so that I can get a really good idea what it looks like with 100 amps of dedicated power going to it. And so I'm going to get this thing charged back up. But for now, looking really good. Very impressed so far. All right, welcome back. And so today's the day that I've been waiting the most for. I'm going to swap out the battery that I use on my live scope on this boat with the LiPULS 12.8 volt battery. I'm really excited to see how long this battery will last. I suspect it's going to last all day. The most I could possibly fish today would be maybe 6 hours by the time I get to the lake. I know it's going to last 6 hours. I would honestly expect it to last probably more like 12, maybe even 14 to 16 hours. But we'll see. I'm going to turn it on when I get to the lake, and we're going to leave it on all day. I'm never going to turn the juice off so that we can see how much juice it's drawing and everything else. And to do this, I've made myself a little... I've made myself a wiring connector so that I can use the standard 12 volt connector on this, so that I can plug it up to the
Garmin electronics inside of my bait box, or my rod locker, if you will. I've made this cord that will go inside my rod locker, and that's one thing I'm really excited about. This battery is small enough that I'm going to be able to actually put it in my rod locker close to where I need to plug it in. And so I don't even need this much cable. I could have done with about 10 inches of this cable and been fine. But I've also got this battery sitting here. This is a standard size 27, Group 27 battery from Duralast. I've used this. This was a good battery for a couple of years. But the main thing is it's just an extremely heavy battery. And I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the boat. It's currently sitting in a standard battery tray. And it's going to take some muscle because these batteries are so heavy. So what I'm going to show you is this is a standard battery tray. This came in my boat. This comes in a lot of boats. It's actually TH Marine, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. And just so that you can see, not only for one is this battery so much easier to lift, but it will fit in a standard battery tray. You will have a little bit of extra room on both sides, at least 1 inch on both sides of it, but your tie down straps and everything should still work perfectly with this. So we're going to get out to the lake and we're going to connect this thing up. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to put it in here. Let me get behind the camera. And I'm just going to set it down inside here in my rod locker. And in case you're wondering, yeah, you've lost your rod locker. Well, I don't keep rods in here anyway. I don't take that many rods to fish. And if you're in a bigger boat, you have more room. And so you would probably have this in the back of the boat. I'm out of battery space in the back of my boat. And so what I wanted to show you is something I want you to keep in mind. If you rig up a wiring connection like I have, and you're like, hey, this is really nice to be able to do this, don't forget one thing. When you use these connections, the one that supplies the power to the electronics, you need to reverse the wires. Put the black on the positive and the red on the negative, only because when you're going to use one of these connectors and plug it in like this, you're going to be flipping this over to plug it in. So you can see that the hot coming from the battery, the red line, is going to go to the black on this. So your black has to become your hot, and your red has to become your ground, into the ground. So don't forget that. You will need to reverse that if you're going to use this setup. Got these nice little connections. I'll put them on the battery, on the hot, and on the ground, and we'll go live scoping and see how it goes. All right, I'm down here on the lake. I put in at Tom Fuller, which a lot of you are probably familiar with if you watch my channel. What I want to show you is that I'm now running my electronics on, I'm looking at 13.2 volts right here, and I'm running my live scope. In fact, I'll see if I can find anything to show you. Let me look around here for a minute. There's some grass. I'm digging the looks of that grass right there. And let's see, oops, kind of running the trolling motor. I was hoping maybe I could show you a fish or two in here before I show you what the battery's looking like, but I don't necessarily see any fish moving around, but you know as well as I do, they could be anywhere up in this grass right here. I suspect right here, there might be one in there. It's really sunny, and I'm hoping you can see what I'm talking about, but what I really want to show you, I suspect that's a fish right in there. That might be a small fish, and I think there may be one there and one there. But I'm not really interested in showing you how to fish with live scope so much as I'm interested in showing you that if I step back here, what we're running the live scope on is the LiPULS 12.8 100 amp hour battery. And I've got that wired in to here's my quick connect, my quick 12 volt connect. I've got that wired to my fuse panel, which goes to my GLS 10 and everything needed for live scope. So I'm excited to see how that battery holds up today. And I'm just going to have you watch me fish, and then occasionally we'll check out and see what's happening on this. I'll put it on my chest camera so that you can kind of help me watch what's going on. So wish me luck. Hopefully you can see me. It is absolutely beautiful out here. one. Couldn't handle it. Good boys and girls. These fish are on the bed. These fish are on the bed. Oh man. Oh, what a beautiful fish. Come here. Oh my gosh, what beautiful. Oh yes. There you go. That's not bad. That's not bad for the first one of the day. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Mwah, mwah. Grow up, get bigger. Thank you so much. What a beautiful fish. All right, I'm gonna be doing that a lot today, I hope. I'll put you back in here. Thank you.
All right, so what I've decided to do to shorten this video is I'm just going to show you a couple of fish that I catch while using my live scope. And a few of these were not on live scope, but the main thing is I was able to use this on so many trips. I finally just decided to go ahead and recharge it. And I think it must have been 5 different fishing trips. Now, those were not all long trips. I think maybe a couple of those were 6-hour trips, and the others were around 3 hours each. So I think that I can easily say I had 2 full days of fishing out of this, and I still had battery left, but I decided to go ahead and charge it anyway. So what I wanted to do is go ahead and just kind of tell you some of the pros and cons of the battery. And again, this is just my opinion. I'm not being paid for this opinion by any means. But I found about 5 things that I thought were very positive about this battery. One is just how light it is. It's so easy to move it around and put it wherever you want to in the boat. You can take it in and out of the boat if you want to as well, like in cold weather. Solid performance. I was really surprised at how well it performed. I had a very good clear image the whole time that I was using it. It never did just suddenly die. It never cut out or had any issues like that. And the battery management system on it came in very handy. I like that as well. Now, you can't see that. That's just something that's going on behind the scenes. You know that it's checking the charging and making sure that all that's going well. So I'm glad that it has a battery management system. And now just thinking about some of the negatives about it, the biggest complaint that I have, and honestly it's the only complaint that I have, is that it doesn't have Bluetooth. There's no way for me to use an application to check it to see what percentage of the battery is actually left. So there it is. That's my opinion. I hope you enjoy it. All in all, I give this battery a big thumbs up.
I do recommend you go check out their website where you can get all kinds of information about their batteries. And apparently they have just some gigantic batteries. They have some that are bigger than golf courses and some that are bigger than RVs, it looks like, according to their website. So all in jest.